fingertip. Your state, your teams, your ESPN. Download the all-new ESPN Wisconsin app in the Apple and Android app stores today. While the full schedule for the Green Bay Packers won't be revealed until tomorrow night, we now know 2 of their 17 games. As this morning, it was announced that the Philadelphia Eagles will be coming to Lambeau Field November 10th in Week 10 for Monday Night Football. It'll be nationally televised on ABC and ESPN and joins Packers at Bears on December 20th in Week 16 as the 2 known entities thus far for the Green and Gold. Full schedule will be released tomorrow at 7 p.m. Central. In baseball, the Brewers have lost 3 of their last 4 and look to bounce back against the Guardians tonight in Cleveland. Quinn Priester will be on the bump for the Crew. First pitch from Progressive Field will be at approximately 5:10 Central. Also in baseball, Pete Rose, now eligible for the Hall of Fame. What? Jim at Molly, now.
Metro Kia of Madison, Madison's trusted Kia dealer. Stop into Metro Kia on the east side of Madison or metrokiaofmadison.com.
Everybody's ego takes a shot on this show.
You gotta keep your chill with Jim, Matt, and Molly.
I am savage.
So you're not special.
Jim, if we want to play this game, we can play this game.
And I'm just like, oh my God, this guy's going to swing on Jim. He's a complicated fellow.
People like me.
I don't think so.
This is Jim, Matt, and Molly on 100.5 ESPN, the ESPN Wisconsin app, and ESPN Madison on YouTube.
We're learning a lot about each other.
We got Homer, Matt Hamilton.
Yeah.
We have
Pessimist Molly.
No. Realist.
and then Contrary.
Total. Yeah.
Jim Rutledge here.
I wouldn't say I'm a wino by any means.
That's not really the term. But yeah. All right. Wino?
No, wine is like somebody that likes wine.
Maybe you're just not hip to the jive like us young cats, right, Molly?
And to be fair, it's a cork
Broadcasting live from the Everlight Solar Studio in downtown Madison. Alongside Matt Hamilton and Molly Brown, here's Jim Rutledge.
Live from Ruth's Steakhouse in Middleton, it is Jim, Matt, and Molly. We are presented by Coors Light. The mountains are blue, you know what to do.
And that's Crush, a Coors Light.
I am Jim Rutledge. I have the power. I'm going to tell you right now, it is a weird experience that in my left ear, I hear myself, but then when you guys talk, it is in my right ear. So this will be a fun little show that we will do up until 4:30 on the air, and then we will go to ESPN Madison's YouTube. You can see us on ESPN Madison YouTube right away. You also can stream us on the ESPN Wisconsin app. And the news that came down today, it's all over ESPN, that Jason Tatum blew out his Achilles. Unfortunately for the Bucks, that has real no effect on the future of Giannis, because even if he does the Eric name titled gap year, the gap year coincides with Jason Tatum being out, which means Tatum would be coming back when the Bucks are would be a team that actually could compete for an NBA title, an Eastern Conference title, which I think they're still pretty far from. But we have Jason Wilde joining the show early on, and I wanted to get into, and we're going to throw out our Siding Limited poll question right away, basically which one of these stories that I'm going to list here is the biggest nothing burger. And you can chime in 844-770-3776, and the Carlos Talking text line. List is more. So which piece of Packers offseason quote-unquote drama is a bigger nothing burger? We'll start with the Jayden Reed news that Adam Schefter reported, that the Packers reached out to Jayden Reed and smoothed out with the camp that he is still the guy, still their number one boy, if you get the reference to the TV show Succession. But it is one of those weird scenarios, and I believe it was Mark Tauscher that said today, and maybe it was Wilde who's coming up, that this is one of the risks you run when you have a room full of all young players. It's one thing to go young. It's another thing to have no vets in that room that can kind of remind people of like, hey, you eat, then I eat, and then we'll have different days where different people will have bigger games, but that's how this breaks out. It's easier said if you are a vet who's gotten paid already. Reed wants to get paid. Romeo Dobbs is going to want to get paid. Christian Watson, when he's back, wants to get paid. Matthew Golden might be in the best spot to be a guy that is less concerned with the numbers and the catches. because he's a few years from even being eligible to get paid. But you got a couple guys all within a window that want to get paid, want to put up big-time numbers. So there's that aspect of things. Speaking of getting paid, Elgton Jenkins, who you can look up on TMZ, notoriously frugal, apparently, Elgton Jenkins, looking for no, I don't think he's even defending it. Like, he was just looking for a refund from a Atlanta gentleman's club.
He did respond on Twitter. He put out the cap emoji, which we don't need to play to Laurel or Yanni to figure out what that means. He's saying there's lies from the Atlanta gentleman's establishment.
It didn't even make him look that bad, so I don't know why they're lying. They basically just said, like, the police had to show up, and he wanted his money back, and they gave him the money back, but they just won't give it back at first, is the alleged story. But it doesn't make him look bad anyways. Like, he went into the club. According to TMZ, he went into the club. The club was empty. He said, we're not going to stay. Give me my cover fee back. There was a dispute. There was no fight. Police were called because he wanted his money back, and he got his money back. It wasn't like anything, maybe kind of embarrassing, but otherwise, like, it wasn't anything that's truly bad on his end of things, even if it is true or not true.
Why did he want his money back? I didn't read
Because he said
story.
that they said the club, like the strip club, was dead.
Oh.
So they went in thinking they were paying a cover to go to like a lively place, and it wasn't. And so apparently they turned around and asked for the money back.
I mean, it could have been more dead than a place in Green Bay that I'm sure he frequents, right?
Right. But
allegedly.
But he's, I would imagine the what's the entrance fee is higher in those places. Again, I honestly, I think it's more funny that he asked for, like, if I'm Elgton Jenkins, I'm just like, all right, whatever, we're out of here.
So the really important question is, when I post our poll question, I should mention that it's a big or nothing burger for the Elgton Jenkins story related to his contract.
So that's what I want to get to is the contract
situation.
Because apparently he is watching his budget because he's now going from getting that guard money, and maybe he could have been getting that left tackle money because there was idea of like maybe we'll kick him off the left tackle. Now he's getting that center money, which on the offensive line is historically the least paid position. I mean, like, yeah, Jason Kelsey got paid, but still, like, the guards and the tackles usually in reverse order, tackles and guards usually make the – yeah, but still not quite that left tackle, not that premium guard position, even for a center there. And then the other one that is more – and we'll get to Jason Wilde on this right now is that apparently Sean Ryan came up 2 plays short of his performance bonus, which the Packers can't do anything about. Seemed like there was some dispute that his agent had a different number, and the Packers and NFLPA had conflicting numbers. But that one to me is complete nothing burger. That's just unfortunate events there. But let's play the open. Let's get to Jason Wilde.
What's up with that? What's up with that?
I didn't have the open ready. I just have What's Up With That, the song queued up.
Sounds
so
good.
we'll go
All
with
right.
that.
All right. Well, what's up with that, Riley? Jason Wilde joining the show now. We are live at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse in Middleton. And, Jason, we actually started the show with, like, there's all these little micro dramas around the Packers, and they all kind of feel like different varying degrees of nothing burgers. But for you, which one of the 3 stories around the Packers, whether it's Elgton Jenkins wanting to get paid before he's moved to center, and there's that guard center pay difference, there is the unfortunate 2-play discrepancy for Sean Ryan that might – it sounds like it's going to, knock him out of $2 million. And then Jayden Reed having to get told that he's their number 1 boy with the succession reference there during the offseason there. Which one of those do you think is the most consequential story out of that, Jason?
Well, don't forget we still have the Jair Alexander saga
True.
going on. And I also think there's some sort of issue with Romeo Doubs. Like, I don't know that for certain. But again, I'm not sure what his participation has been in the off-season program. Look, I understand that people want these to be nothing burgers. I've had more than a few people on social media try to tell me that the Reed story is a nothing burger. Look, it's not that when Drew Rosenhaus wants it out there via Adam Schefter that they had this conversation and that they were reassured that Jayden Reed's their number 1 wide receiver. I mean, isn't this the same team that the coach said he wants to vomit every time he talks about the number 1 receiver? So I'm sorry. These are not giant, towering infernos like the Favre drama or the Rodgers stuff. This is more like a series of brush fires, but it still requires manpower to put them out. And there's a bunch of them. And, again, for Adam Stenavich, because this confirms what I already knew, and that is that Elton's fine moving to guard. He just doesn't like where his contract is at on a team that notoriously moves on from 30-year-olds with his 30th birthday coming up the day after Christmas. So he can also, it would help the Packers to take two pretty large base salaries, give him some guaranteed money and a signing bonus, and create some cap space on top of it. So again, no one is suggesting that this is a major news story like being given an airplane or anything else that's in the news right now. But they're not nothing. None of them are nothing.
Jason, I'm curious what your, I guess more just on your thoughts on Jayden Reed, because I can respect the competitiveness of it. And obviously all these guys are at a high level, which means that they are very competitive. But this almost feels, in a sense, weak to me. Like, I don't know how else to describe it other than it just feels like he needs to have this reassurance that he's going to be the number one, that it's giving a negative picture about him, which bums me out because I feel like I was a really big Jayden Reed fan.
Yeah, I mean, look, I look forward to talking to Jayden. You know, I have a good working relationship with him. I am going to ask him some pointed questions about this, and I really like covering him. I think he's an honest guy. He's a compelling story. But I totally agree with you, and this does not scream competitiveness. This screams, I need reassurance.
Yeah.
Right. I was going to say petulance, but I like insecurity. And again, I've seen this theory advanced, and maybe there's something to it. Again, I love all these people that just think they know everything and they just dismiss everyone because they're the only authorities on anything. I try not to do that. I have seen it suggested that, he just hired Drew Rosenhaus. So he just switched agents. And so maybe there's a little bit of showmanship here of, Drew Rosenhaus wanting to show his new client and other prospective clients whether or not he'll fight for them, right? And so maybe that's a component here. Like, this is more for show. I don't think you do that. I don't think you do this sort of thing, though, just for show. I really don't. So I would say that, and I would say this to Jayden's face, so I'm not shy about saying it here. The Jayden Reed I know, and I don't want to swear on the radio, but the Jayden Reed that I feel like I know would say, F this, I'm going to show these blankety blanks that I am the alpha. I am the guy that should be getting most of the targets. And I saw somebody tagged me in this. There was another podcast. I'm not sure who all was on it, but they suggested that the timing of this coming out was not long after I had asked Steno yesterday about the idea of taking some hits off of Reed, because if you guys remember, I know we talked about this earlier in the offseason. LaFleur had made a comment when he was asked about why Reed wasn't very productive. Remember, he had 11 catches over the last 5 games. He said, I think he was banged up, and basically said, we want to take some of those hits off of him. Now, I didn't interpret that as you're going to get the ball less. I interpreted that as, hey, if we're facing first and goal from the 5, we're not going to run you on an end around or a jet sweep so you get absolutely lambasted and have to limp off the field, which happened in a game at Lambeau. Like, give those to Savion Williams, who's 6'4", 222, and use Reed in a way that he's not going to get the crap kicked out of him. That doesn't mean that he should get less targets. He had 94 targets as a rookie. He had 75 targets last year. So the trend line is not ideal. But maybe Steno's answer about, hey, look, Williams and Golden can do these things too, maybe that did prompt it. I don't know. All I know is that I would want my guy, whether I'm a coach or a teammate or a friend of his, to say, F these guys. I'm going to go out there and show them that I don't care who they draft. I'm the guy, and see what happens. Can someone tell the gold medalist that his microphone isn't on?
So I think he might be having an issue. So he's basically asking you to get a little bit the equipment here might be having an issue, not so much Matt. But I would say that he's asking you basically
probably
with
both.
the Sean Ryan two-play differential here. How does this happen? What is there like? Is there bad blood in here? Is it just frustration? It was an interesting story. It sounds like Packers' hands are tied, but there seems to be a slight dispute on what percentage of plays that Sean Ryan played, and is this just another example of an agent fighting for their player?
Yeah, I think it's all those things, and I'm sorry I don't get to really talk to you, Matt. We're just we've got an interpreter instead. Look, I thought this was a fascinating story by Rob Domofsky. Obviously, the agent mentioned it to him. He obviously talked to the Packers and the NFLPA. Remember earlier in the season, Sean Ryan was splitting time with Jordan Morgan. So to be hosed out of $2 million by 2 snap counts, that's brutal. I mean, that is – because, look, you don't know what his career is going to look like. You don't know how long he's going to play. That's a lot of money. It's not like he's, Tom Brady and made $500 million or whatever. Like, it's a different deal. So I don't know how he feels, but that is brutal. And, again, the way Rob explained it, the league uses one set of snap counts. The agent looked at something else. It would have been nice if it didn't have to split time with Jordan Morgan early in the year, and then this would have been a moot point because he'd have gotten it long before he had to. So, according to Rob's story, the Packers' hands are tied, and again, that's not something that creates a lot of good feelings. I think we can all agree on that.
Mm-hmm. Now, can you hear me now, Jason?
More so than I could before, my friend.
Oh, that's good. We're getting better.
Jason, there you are. Hi.
Hey, bud. Nice to hear your voice. So, what's up with this? There seems to be more drama. Like, again, the Packers have. What's up with that? There's been a lot of major drama, right? Like you mentioned earlier, the Rodgers, the Favre thing, all big things. This seems like we're getting to the same amount of drama, but by death by 1,000 paper cuts. What's up with that?
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Is there less because there's no veterans, is there more of these little squabbles that pop up and catch fire as opposed because veterans aren't there to just snuff out the issue? Is this a youth thing or is this a Goody clearly shows that he doesn't respect the player once you hit 30, you're aged out commodity? What's the vibe you're getting?
Well, I think it's a really good question, Matt, because I'm curious to know that myself. Because there's part of me that thinks that this is the downside of having the youngest team in the league, right? Is that you don't have a clear-cut pecking order. I said this to Chewy this morning. Jeff Thomason, who was their number 3 tight end, never thought he was Mark Chmura. Never thought he was going to get, the opportunities. He understood his role. And then, when Chewy tore his plantar fascia, he knew he was going to play more because Chewy was hurt. So now we're sitting here looking at a team where everyone kind of feels like they're on the same level. There is no, Devontae Adams is the clear-cut number 1 on this team, right? There's none of that. And so I don't know, they loved that first year after they drafted Reed and Wicks, where it was Reed, Wicks, Dobbs, Watson, Malik Heath, and Bo Melton. They loved to talk about how none of them cared. No, we don't need a number 1 wide receiver. We're all going to get ours, all that stuff. Well, yeah, but I'll never forget Jason Vrabel saying he was asked a question, the passing game coordinator and the wide receivers coach for a while, was asked, when do you have to know who your number 1 is? And I'll never forget this answer. He said, well, we'll know who number 1 is when they get paid. And that is what this is about. right? This is like, who's going to get the contract? These guys are all fighting not just for playing time and statistics. They are fighting for their financial windfall because, and this is one of my frustrations with when people always want to side with the team instead of the player in a debate about contracts. Like, these guys have a finite period of time to play this game and make this kind of money. And then it's over. And so they all want to get theirs as soon as and for as long as they can. And this dynamic makes that very on the one hand, it gives them the opportunity, if they can get that, if they can seize it, to be that guy. On the other hand, when they're all kind of in the same level, everybody gets kind of their share, and it's not a big enough share for it to be big bucks. And so I do wonder if this is the inherent drawback to this kind of roster building. I really do.
And I'm with you on that. I do think that certain teams have tendencies, and it seems like the Packers lean a little bit more into the analytical, young, let's always get out of here early and forgetting that veterans matter. To that point, I'm assuming there's no shot that Trey Hendrickson is coming to the Packers, even though they could use his massive production, and he might be at a discount.
Yeah, I mean, look, I would never say never. It would be an exception to the Goody rule because he already has celebrated his 30th birthday, which is, you might as well be a horse put out the pasture when it comes to the Packers unless you're a kicker. But at the same time, like, look, let's say you give Elgton Jenkins what he wants and you restructure his deal, you get Jair back at half the price that he's scheduled to be paid. Suddenly now you've created a bunch of cap room, and you can, you're not going to want to sign Trey Hendrickson to a 4-year, $150 million deal, but maybe Trey Hendrickson is unhappy enough now that while he wants to get paid, maybe he'd be fine getting paid on like a 2-year deal with a bunch of guaranteed money, and he gets a fresh start, and then if he balls out, he gets more money. Like, I do wonder if it's gotten so acrimonious in Cincinnati that maybe what he's looking for has changed.
It's starting to sound like that, Jason. We appreciate you. We missed you yesterday or on Friday, so we appreciate you making time for us today. We got the Brewers coming up, so we're in a tight window. So thanks so much for hopping on.
Yeah, I'm just jealous you guys are at Ruth's, Chris. That is an amazing place. I haven't been there in forever, but I am incredibly jealous of you guys. So enjoy the atmosphere for another 38 minutes, and then go eat since you won't be on the air anyway.
Yes, thank you, Jason. We'll talk.
All right, guys, take care. Be good.
That is Jason Wilde. One of the things that's not on the menu here, but it's always on your menu, is Odyssey.
That's right. Odyssey brands. First of all, it's amazing Greek yogurt, Greek feta, like all sorts of delicious dips and stuff that you can get. The best part and the reason I love supporting it is because they get Wisconsin-sourced milk. It's made down in Monroe. The feta's literally amazing. It's fantastic. And what I've been doing lately with the yogurt is I've been using it as a marinade. Chop up some chicken thighs, coat them in some yogurt, some Greek yogurt from Odyssey, maybe some masala seasoning, a little bit of some curry here and there. Throw those on the grill, salt and pepper, and you've got yourself a fantastic little chicken skewer. You can use the yogurt in so many different ways, though. That's just one of them. And I'll be giving you more this summer, fun ways to use the Odyssey Greek yogurt. You can get it wherever you go grocery shopping because they're nationwide, baby. Look for the blue label Odyssey, made here in Wisconsin.
This is Jim, Matt, and Molly, presented by Coors Light.
You're listening to Jim, Matt, and Molly.
It's like dogs. Like you get like the snickerdoodle or all these. Like you're trying to build a
Snickerdoodle?
Is that a real dog?
No, it's like a golden doodle.
Golden
It's a cookie.
doodle. Golden doodle.
Like a
Sorry.
snickerdoodle. Half poodle, half Snickers bar.
I'm sure. Golden doodle. I don't know. This breeding dogs thing is dumb.
Presented by Coors Light on 100.5 ESPN, the ESPN Wisconsin app, and ESPN Madison on YouTube.
Cheesy Bites Pizza is back at Pizza Hut. For only $13.99, you get a large pizza with 28 pullable, poppable, cheese-filled bites. Plus, it comes with Pizza Hut's very own Ranch Lovers Flight, featuring 3 bold dips: Ultimate Ranch, Chipotle Ranch, and Pepperoni Ranch. 1 large pizza, 3 dips, endless flavor. Ready to dip into deliciousness? Well, hurry. It's only available for a limited time. Head to a Pizza Hut location or order online at pizzahut.com today. Pizza Hut. No one out-pizzas the Hut.
Since J&K Security Solutions opened in 1987, our attention to detail and customer service have been our strongest assets. I'm President Jeffrey Beckman. We'll always do our best to find the most efficient and cost-effective solution to every job we tackle. Whether it's security for your home or business, installing video surveillance, or being able to control your garage doors from your phone, we can help you feel empowered with simple and user-friendly technology. Let's work together to secure your home or business. jksecurity.com.
Hi, Dave from Canopy Wealth Management here. Our balanced approach helps guide you through a complex and ever-changing landscape. Throughout your family's financial planning journey, we will serve as a partner, advocate, and steward in all aspects to help you achieve your goals with confidence. At Canopy, care, competence, and clarity, it's not just a tagline, it's a promise. Go to canopy-wealth.com to get started today. That's canopy-wealth.com.
Hey, Matt Hamilton here to tell you about the delicious Odyssey Brands, a family-owned company crafting award-winning cheese right here in Wisconsin for over 4 generations. Made with locally sourced milk, Odyssey brings bold, Greek-style flavors straight to your table. From savory, crumbly feta to rich and creamy Greek yogurt, every bite is a taste of tradition and quality. You can find Odyssey products at most major retailers nationwide and online. Odyssey, crafted in Wisconsin, loved everywhere, dairy done right.
Every event tells a story, from the first impression to the final moments. Have someone guide your guests through every chapter the way you want the story told. Hi, it's Jeffrey from Celebrations Entertainment. With a strong presence, great voices, and an award-winning team, trust us to guide, direct, and inform your guests through all the different chapters of the day. For fun, memorable entertainment for any event, please visit us at celebrationsentertainment.com. That's celebrationsentertainment.com.
Ready to live the high life at home? Miller High Life is giving one lucky winner the ultimate backyard dive bar experience. It's a cabana complete with classic bar vibes, neon lights, and of course, plenty of high life. To enter, just order a Miller High Life at any participating dive bars in the Madison area and register with the link to the Miller High Life Backyard Dive Bar giveaway. Get a ticket to Dive Bar Glory at your local watering hole, like Jerry's Place, Utica Bar, and Madison VFW 8483.
Veterans of Foreign Wars Wisconsin recently upgraded their document imaging technology from James Imaging Systems. Adam Wallace, VFW State Adjutant.
Our representative ensured that we had what was right for us, for our needs, and for our budget, and I thought it was a very good interaction.
That's a good thing to have James Imaging Systems as your local business technology partner?
Absolutely. We want people that are going to support what we want to do in supporting veterans, and if that means spending less on our imaging and technology costs, that's more that we can spend on our programs.
And that's a really good thing. Adam, any advice to other businesses out there?
I would say to go with James Imaging.
Because?
Because they are a partner and they give great customer service and the prices are right.
Great document imaging technology, great service, great value. From James Imaging Systems, your local business technology partner. Call 608-221-3457 or visit jamesimaging.com.
You're listening to Jim, Matt, and Molly, presented by Coors Light. Also brought to you by J&K Security Solutions, securing homes and businesses in the Madison area since 1987.
Man, I got this right. My hand to my bag. You know I'm
Go be a winner. Ho Chunk Gaming Madison, millions of dollars won every single weekend at Ho Chunk Gaming Madison. Go be a winner and go to Ho Chunk Gaming Madison. Brewers need a win. It is 3 out of the last 4 that they have lost. My brother, who's a diehard Brewers fan, texted me today, and he is not one to be negative about his Brewers. And he texted me at 3:44, I think the Brewers may be bad. And I saw ESPN Milwaukee put out, are we worried about the Brewers yet? The Guardians are a good team. So losing 5-0 to the Guardians isn't something to be worried about. But Tampa, not a great team. And losing 2 or 3 to Tampa is not great. They lost 2 or 3 to the Cubs. There was a series in between there, though.
There's the Astro series.
The Astro series, they took 2 of 3
2
at
of
home.
3,
so
yeah.
there is that part of it. Also,
do we think that they're
am
not
I
gonna-
hearing us? Are we all hearing a song in the background here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. I wanted to make
I
sure.
thought you were going crazy.
Yeah.
Jim, do you smell smoke?
Right. It's very, very faint, and it's on for a long time. So then I was like, am I hearing this song in the background? So I wanted to make sure. Or like, was I picking? Because nothing is working properly here with the headset. So I'm like, am I just picking up a radio station? Because it's like, is it
We're just
Cecilia?
picking up another
His
station
fillings
now.
are picking
I don't know how
up
that
another
happens.
station.
Yeah,
My fillings.
Cecilia. Yeah, I didn't even know that was like a bump, and I'm like, anyways.
So do we think that the Brewers aren't going to get 100 wins? Is there a chance? I mean, I'm still holding on hope on my bold prediction.
Your prediction, I think the Brewers would need to win 2/3 of the rest of their games. In order
Yeah, they're
to
not
get
doing
that
100
goal.
wins.
So you're saying there's a chance.
Nobody in the NL Central is getting 100 wins.
True.
I don't think the NL Central is horrible, but I don't think anyone in the NL Central is getting 100 wins.
Brewers have always been a second half
Matt,
team,
before we go into tell us about Leinenkugels, though.
Yes. Oh, my gosh. This is the time of year. Get into that summer shandy. Get into the juicy peach. The Lakeside Cherry. Leinenkugels has a flavor for every moment. Brewed here in Wisconsin with German-inspired traditions, with the homeland of Wisconsin really pushing it forward. Leinenkugels has the flavor for every moment. Get it wherever you get delicious beer. And remember, you must be 21 years or older to enjoy.
Milwaukee Brewers baseball coming up next. This is Jim, Matt, and Molly. We're going to be on the ESPN Madison YouTube stream, at least for about a half an hour.
Yeah.
Matt and Molly continues live on YouTube. Next.
Matt Hamilton here for Leinenkugels, the craft beer that showcases a commitment to tradition and quality, founded in 1867 in Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin. No matter where I'm at, on the ice, on my boat, or if I'm just watching the big game, I always have a Leine's in my hand. Whether it's the refreshing summer shandy, the smooth honey vice, or my personal favorite, the juicy peach, there's a delicious flavor for every moment. Pick it up wherever you get delicious beer, but remember, you gotta be 21 years or older to enjoy.
To be on your side, selection beyond compare, with on-site repair, so you can wear your jewelry with pride. Condon Jewelers, the jeweler on the east side, the jeweler on your side.
Ben Brust here to tell you about Zimbrick European. They have Mercedes, Audi, Porsche, and certified pre-owns. But the best part is I've been working with them since 2018, and the evolution has been a 2-door, a 4-door, and now it's time for an SUV. My life has changed, and it's changed with Zimbrick European. Being a dad has made it really important to have the comfort and the safety that the SUV will bring me. Again, Zimbrick European off the Beltline at Rimrock Road. Of course, I found the sexiest car on the lot. Check them out.
Swing into the Bridges for the Ryder Cup Scramble. On Sunday, June 1st, play a 2- or 4-person scramble for $120 per person. Includes 18 holes of golf with a cart, prizes, and dinner. Find more details at golfthebridges.com today.
Want to join the fastest growing home solar company in the nation and work in the fastest growing industry in the world? Everlight Solar has open positions in the Madison area and in their newly opened Milwaukee location. As Wisconsin's largest home solar company, Everlight Solar offers great opportunities to gain new skills and advance your career. Don't miss the chance to join the Everlight Solar team. Visit everlightsolar.com to apply today. Save money, save the planet, and start with Everlight Solar.
Have you been waiting to buy your next home? Stop. Now is the time to get housed. What's up, Madison? It's Stacy from Bruner Realty. Nobody has a crystal ball to know what the future holds. The longer you wait to find your next home, the better the chance you'll be paying more for it than you would be today. Don't miss out on what could be the best opportunity to find your dream home. Contact our team at BrunerRealtyInc.com to help start your search. That's BrunerRealtyInc.com. Let's get house.
Take your game to the next level with Vortex Golf. This employee-owned brand out of Wisconsin brings you premium rangefinders like the Blade, Blade Slope, and the Anarch, packed with features like image stabilization, pin spotter mode, and rock-solid accuracy. Backed by a legendary no-questions-asked VIP lifetime warranty and unmatched customer service, Vortex has you covered. Ready to upgrade your gear? Visit maplehillgolf.com and search Vortex to see the full lineup. Vortex Golf, you can bet on it.
When you've been injured, you need a winning team on your side. Gruber Law Offices will fight for the results you deserve. Call Gruber Law Offices today, a proud partner of your Milwaukee Brewers. One call, that's all.
Time now.
So we're learning a lot about
ESPN
each other.
Wisconsin
I asked your percentage
presentation.
of love for Aaron Rodgers. It was still like 90, wasn't it?
7.5. But it went down from a 10, so
Okay.
I lost 25%.
7.5 out of 10.
Fair.
Well, then I'll ask Evan or Molly, would you rather go to Aaron Rodgers' wedding or would you rather go to the Kentucky Derby?
Wedding 110% because it'd be so uncomfortable to watch Aaron Rodgers get married. Am I wrong?
I would go with wedding because I don't want the FaceTime with Rodgers.
I'd rather be on the other end of a Jim Rutledge phone call when he's annoyed at someone, which is horrible.
Man. Everybody's ego takes a shot on this show.
You gotta keep your chill with Jim, Matt, and Molly.
I am savage.
So you're not special.
Jim, if we want to play this game, we can play this game.
And I'm just like, oh my God, this guy's
let
going
me
to
get
swing
this
on
right.
Jim.
He's a complicated fellow.
People like me.
I don't think so.
This is Jim, Matt, and Molly, streaming exclusively on the ESPN Madison YouTube channel.
We're learning a lot about each other.
I asked your percentage of love for Aaron Rodgers. It was still like 90, wasn't it?
7.5. But it went down from a 10, so
Okay.
I lost
7.5
25%.
out of 10.
Fair.
Well, then I'll ask Evan or Molly, would you rather go to Aaron Rodgers' wedding or would you rather go to the Kentucky Derby?
Wedding 110% because it'd be so uncomfortable to watch Aaron Rodgers get married. Am I wrong?
I would go with wedding because I don't want the FaceTime with Rodgers.
I'd rather be on the other end of a Jim Rutledge phone call when he's annoyed at someone, which is horrible.
Broadcasting live from the Everlight Solar Studio in downtown Madison. Alongside Matt Hamilton and Molly Brown, here's Jim Rutledge.
The YouTube edition of Jim, Matt, and Molly continues because we were on ESPN. We were on ESPN Madison's YouTube earlier when we were on the air at ESPN Madison, but now we are off air as the Milwaukee Brewers get set. The pregame is going on to take on the Guardians. They are looking to avoid a possible sweep here against the Guardians, and this is a big game for the Brewers as far as I think vibes. They also need to start hitting better as well. But I wanted to get into what I thought was interesting. Jim Rutledge here, Matt Hamilton, Molly Brown. And we're live at Ruth Steakhouse in Middleton. We're not in someone's living room or whatever. It is kind of a nice, cool setup here. I mean, it does look like someone's living room, so I should tell people we are.
Is this Barry Alvarez's living room?
This was
Such a nice sconce.
This was the coach's room back in the day.
Is it not anymore? It feels like a coach's room.
It was more closed off.
Okay.
It still could be. I don't know if they technically call it the coach's room anymore, but it was a closed-off cigar room.
I think it says right
almost.
above the room. It says the coach's room.
Still the coach's room? Okay, still the coach's room.
Yeah.
Because it used to be completely separated from the rest of Ruth's Chris, and it was really, really for coach or like super private small events.
It's crazy.
And so, because this was, they had everything where all the glasses here, that was all closed off. Like that was not open. That was a wall. And then where they had the doorways to come in here, also a wall, they just had one actual door that you could come in and hang out in coach's room.
Huh. The
And
more
I believe
you know.
you could smoke a cigar in here as well back in the day.
Oh, I mean, it looks like you could smoke a cigar in
It
here.
totally
You know what I mean?
does.
It's got the vibe, the dark wood. It's definitely got cigar lounge vibes.
Jesse's gone through 2 packs since he's been here. I mean,
Two packs of cigars.
Jesse Nelson's just been in the corner, just puffing.
He's a Swisher's going right now.
The classy stuff. So I saw this news, and I haven't had a chance to really dig into the why, but I got the alert, and I say the why because when I saw it on my phone, the ESPN alert, I kind of said, why? So Pete Rose and Shoeless Joe Jackson, they have been unbanned from MLB, which then allows them to be into the MLB Hall of Fame. And I'm curious as to the thought process as to why. Because they are the two most notorious gamblers, honestly, in sports in general, regardless of betting on themselves or not. What they did still, and Pete Rose more than Shoeless Joe, because I think there's a little more ambiguity of Shoeless Joe. I mean, Shoeless Joe in that World Series when he was suspended and he allegedly admitted to taking a bribe for it, he had a record for a long time of 12 hits in the World Series. So, like, that dude was raking, even though the White Sox / Black Sox back, that's the nickname for them, obviously through the World Series.
He was so good. He was trying to throw it and still was batting .350.
I think what ended up happening was that he took the money and didn't throw. But he did admit to taking the money. But he didn't actually throw. Because, I mean...
Oh, what's a less honest move? Taking the money to throw a game and then not actually double agent?
Yeah, I mean, true.
I like that move.
Pete Rose.
Oh, yeah. Take a dive in the 5th round.
Bruce Willis and Pulp Fiction type. All right, Matt Hamilton.
Mm-hmm.
Classy.
So
Classy.
Pete Rose is the other one. Now, Pete Rose is interesting as well because he's an all-around not good guy. So it's not like people are like, oh, man, this great dude just gets kept out of the MLB Hall of Fame. Like, no, he's not great. Like, there's a lot of not great stuff around Pete Rose. Nothing.
Well, I mean, all of it happened because he wasn't able to get in.
Yeah,
if he got into Cooperstown, he might not have been so angsty.
Well, I don't know. Regardless, I don't know if baseball – I mean, I guess – and I follow baseball. I wasn't pining for this. I'm not like, thank God they're allowed in.
Well, I just think it's a little bit of like a – I don't think the word is double standard. Like right now, if you're a professional athlete, you get caught gambling, you get a suspension and a fine, but you're not going to be eliminated from getting to the Hall of Fame.
True. You're not allowed to gamble on your own sport still, though.
That's true. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't think what he did was right. And, I mean, he did gamble on his own games. Granted, he bet on himself, which every athlete does when they take the field, whether they're doing it with a bookie or just doing it in general, trying to get that contract, get more money later. Like, you're betting on yourself to do well. Like,
right.
That one, it's so weird because it's like, if you were betting against yourself, you have like actual control of it. If you're betting on yourself, you're not doing anything that any other player is doing differently.
Good.
Right? Yeah, maybe trying harder. Mid-season game, tough to get up for a Tuesday game against the Cleveland Guardians, so you decide to put a little bit of juice on the line, and now you're amped, you're ready to go for this Tuesday matinee game.
Yeah.
Matinee.
Yeah, you like that?
Was that really on purpose just now?
I mean, I said it.
Also, I don't think it's a matinee because it's
at 5.
Yeah, I think a matinee is before
like
4
3.
o'clock.
Yeah,
at least when it comes to like movie tickets.
I don't know. This is still like the early bird special of baseball games.
But like with the Pete Rose thing. So I mean, again, and I guess he's technically not in the Hall of Fame. He's just no longer ineligible. I mean, he has multiple tax evasion charges, multiple SA charges against him. Like, why? Like, I
mean, because he was the best batter in history.
No, that'd be Ty Cobb. Also not a great guy, though.
Okay, well,
we're noticing a correlation.
Here's the thing: this isn't the Hall of Fame of good people. This is the Hall of Fame of baseball.
My point is,
and what he did on the field is Hall of Fame worthy.
But what he did off the field with the gambling was worth banning him for. It's not like my point is if this guy was some sort of angel and this great dude, and it's like he just did this one bad thing. You're like, okay, fine. He's a bad dude who's been bad things forever, and to just feel like we need to put him in the Hall of Fame. It's fine. We know he has the hit record, but like also, and he is a great baseball player. I wouldn't call him the greatest batter of all time. He played. It's very similar to like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You wouldn't call Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Now LeBron just passed him, the greatest basketball player of all time. He just played a long ass time and scored a lot of points.
Yep.
Emmitt Smith, not the greatest running back of all time. A great. Pete Rose is a great. I wouldn't call Pete Rose the greatest hitter of all time. I might go with Ichiro.
So you don't think the change that they're making today that he can now go into the Hall of Fame? You don't think?
Well, I'm just saying if he had no scandal on him, he would be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
True.
That's all I'm getting at.
And I agree with you on that, without a doubt. My point is that like I don't see it was hypocritical with you can gamble on baseball and these guys were kept out because you still can't like Yelich can't bet on him. He can't bet on himself tonight.
Agreed. Yeah, no, like I said, he's
so that
in
part
the wrong.
That part hasn't changed.
But does Matt Hamilton wish that Yelich could bet on himself?
Maybe a little more juice in this lineup wouldn't
Would
hurt.
Christian Yelich even bet on himself, you guys? I mean,
he's been having a pretty good batting season this year.
He said that last year, and then
Matt, how often do you keep track of
I'm pretty
Christian
confident that
Yelich's
Yelich
stats?
is doing okay this year.
you know Matt's actually a Brewers fan this year. He listens to
Yeah,
all
look,
the
I'm
games
wearing
on
a Brewers
100.5.
shirt right now.
Matt does listen to a lot of the games, especially for
So
games
are
on
you
the
telling
cross.
me that the announcer for the Brewers is saying that Yelich isn't having a good year? Because I am regurgitating.
Yelich is hitting 211.
Okay, that's not great.
That's not great. That's not great at all.
He's hitting for some power this year.
What's his slugging?
His slugging is 381.
That's
not great.
That's not great either.
Basically, it's like the most interesting man in the world. Like, I forget how that goes, but like, hey, he might not hit the ball often, but when he does, it's sometimes a home run. He's got 7 home runs.
Wait, how many games has there been?
Oh, we're a quarter of the way through the season, Molly.
Well, they are
How many
20.
there's 162 games.
7 for the
What's a quarter of
Brewers
that?
that's the lead.
30-something?
with Churio.
Higher.
And Jackson Churio hasn't
40-some.
Hasn't taken the step.
There's so much math going on. Jim's reading off Jackson Churio's stat line, and Matt and Molly are trying to do math about how many games are in a baseball season.
7 is fine. It's not a massive power
No, it's
number,
not.
but it leads the Brewers. Churio up there as well, but also I believe Yelich leads the Brewers in strikeouts.
Yeah.
So
Hey,
either he's hitting
can't hit homers if you're not swinging for the fences. I appreciate that.
and again, everyone, I like WAR. It's like a good way to figure out if a player is good or not.
Yeah.
Jackson Churio, good player, young player, not quite the start we're looking for out of him, but still good. His WAR is a 1, which means so far this season he is worth 1 win more than your average baseball
They would
player.
be 19 and 23 without him.
Yes. Christian Yelich, 0.1.
And what are they right now?
They are 20 and 22.
But
There's
like,
a- there's a
I
sample
get you.
now.
I get
so
you. I
we'll,
get you.
so look, the best players with WAR on the Brewers are the best players.
Dumb stat.
Yeah.
It's a great stat.
Why is that a dumb
That's
stat?
my favorite stat. So if you took a baseline player and you said that Bryce Terang is worth 1 win more than a baseline player already this year.
Yeah.
Bryce
So, like,
Terang's got 1 WAR.
1.6. He leads the Brewers in WAR.
Almost 2.
Oh,
War-
honestly, for this early in the season, that's significant.
I use WAR in life. Like what's a regular person and like is someone better? Wilson, but like for an example,
WAR. What is it good for?
Bryce. If I told you,
It's
the
a
best
solid.
players on the Brewers
I got
are
that.
Bryce Terang, Wilson Contreras, and Jackson Churio, you're not. And then I guess Hoskins is number 4. You're not fighting me on many of those, are you?
No, not at all.
Now fielding is brought into this as well, which is why Contreras is a guy that might have a little bit. Maybe his batting is fine for a catcher, but he's a really good defensive catcher. So that aspect,
It's an all-star, yeah.
yeah, that part goes into it as well. So like Jackson, so I think WAR is interesting. I think it's a good way. So like the point being, Christian Yelich 0.1.
So how often do you use your WAR in life, philosophy? How often do you use that like at home, at work?
Not
Just
at home.
And then
out
what's
in
your
everyday
number?
life?
And what's your number?
Out loud.
Not at home.
And what's your number?
At work? No, it's not. It's not my personal WAR. I'm just saying, like, what is
It's a
someone?
1.9.
Where do we rank
Are you-
in your war?
Are you? But it's not my WAR. It's more of like, do you have a replacement level person?
Okay, but you would do that like in your mind. You would
Right.
do your own Jim Rutledge math of
Yeah.
it's a little more ad hoc.
It's not.
right?
It's not like how many wins you would add, but it's just more of like, do we have a replacement level player? Do we have a below replacement level player, or do we have someone that'll be harder to replace?
So then, do you also do this just like with like people at the grocery store? Like, what's the WAR of this
No,
lady in
no,
the
no,
aisle with me
no.
right now, who's like slowing down everyone else trying to get their
no,
milk?
no. At least
'Cause
not
I
as-
do that.
Not as analytically.
Yeah, a lot.
It's more of it's just in general. Like if we're doing interviews or things like that, I am trying to wonder like, is this person better, worse, or could they have potential to be better than an average person in here? And are we okay with
Fair.
average? Which is fine. Sometimes you just roll with average, but then like you can go with like other things where you could go. Do we need to increase our WAR?
This is Jim Goody Rutledge. That's how he's
seriously
like a
is.
GM out here.
I just find it an interesting stat. And for baseball, it's actually pretty. I wish they had it more for football and basketball. It's not the end all be all, but again, I gave you
It's
the
much harder to measure in sports other than baseball.
Yeah.
We should do that for the Packers season this year. Figure out a way of finding what do you call it, WAR scores
I'm sure there is something.
for different players.
There are like flimsier stats like that. There's one from Pro Football Reference I know of where it's average value, which kind of takes into account like what your position is, sort of how well you do it above other people at your position, and then also positional value.
Jayden Reed.
Jayden
He's
Reed's
the perfect one to talk about.
But like if I was just eyeballing it, like Jayden Reed right now is for a second round pick, I would say he's probably slightly above average. So like,
and I would say you shouldn't even take that into account where his draft position was, right? Just
Sure.
how he does
I guess
he do against other receivers.
Well, I guess it depends how you want to do it. As against other receivers, I would
say just against other receivers, not against draft value or anything.
Okay, so
receivers in general or
across like
in Green Bay,
like the average standard receiver, like a 75 overall in Madden. How much better is he than that?
Yeah, because I don't want to do win totals.
79. That's it?
You telling me that how many teams is Jayden Reed stepping on the football field, and all 32 is he the number one wide receiver on the team? Less than half.
That's a good question, actually.
It's got to be less than half.
And we've talked about this with quarterbacks. Like Derek Carr used to be the guy. Kirk Cousins kind of like
R.I.P.
that imaginary line. He's alive, but just worth noting, we don't want to kill anyone off.
Yeah.
In case
Breaking
someone's
news.
Dialing into the ESPN Madison
Allegedly.
YouTube stream. Still alive. Derek and David Carr, I believe, both alive. Both
Not in the
mid
NFL.
Both shoulders hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like Kirk Cousins is a guy.
Jeez, Molly.
But like Aaron Rodgers is like, think about how much his worth. He's probably now a slightly above replacement level QB.
Oh yeah, the fact that he hasn't been scooped up at all, and you only hear rumors about one team, or if you're Molly trying to make fetch happen too, with the Vikings.
God.
Well, now the other team would be the Saints.
Yeah. Well, maybe the Saints now. So maybe there is legitimate two teams
does
that
seem
would be
like-
interested, but like that's it. There's 32 teams in the league. That means 30 teams we're good.
Out.
Yeah.
It does seem like, I think Mike Florio put this out, and it does seem like Rodgers to the Steelers is kind of in there. It's just he doesn't want to do as much offseason stuff, so to avoid the drama of him missing it. It's
By
kind
not
of,
signing.
Yeah.
Instead of going
Honestly,
to Egypt again.
hey, if he talked with Tomlin's like, hey, here's how
Well,
I'm
that's
feeling, and Tomlin's like, you know what? Totally understand.
But if you're Mike Tomlin, that's already letting Aaron Rodgers walk all over you, is it not? Like
No,
you are already
a little
letting
bit.
him control
You're setting a
your-
precedent for sure.
If Aaron is saying I'm not going to come to this stuff, and so then this way everyone looks better.
I mean, it's true. I think everyone does look better if he's not on a team, then he can't go to anyone's practices he doesn't want to go to.
That's crazy because I still look at the Steelers and I'm like, you guys are a joke right now. Like you can't even plan for your future. Maybe they can internally, but like from the outside, I'm just like, what are you guys doing? You look stupid. Maybe I'm wrong in thinking that.
They'll look stupid if Aaron Rodgers doesn't show up. To me, that's the big where
Fair.
they're at. If he shows up, then it's like, all right, they've had some sort of plan, and this is what they want to do.
Oh,
And
yeah.
even then, they probably have like a backup plan if Rodgers doesn't end up signing, right?
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not
Mason Rudolph.
I'm not saying I'm saying it's a gap. It's what like
It's a
Eric
gap
Nam said
year?
about the
No,
Bucs.
you
It's
can't.
a gap year.
That's not their plan. They traded for DK Metcalf. Like,
That's true.
Yeah,
They
got-
didn't just trade
and they-
away George
True,
Pickens.
but they are very much like at the end with I think T.J. Watt and certain guys like they're running out of
Cam Hayward, yeah.
They're running out of time. I feel like this is very much we need to win now and then hopefully reset the QB clock in the future. But this is definitely one of those things where I do not think that that's going to be something that is set in stone. Jesse texts one of us can. You guys can read that. I'm on the air. So
Jesse did bring up a good point that Tausch made earlier in the week, speculating that Rodgers is intentionally not signing before the full schedule comes out tomorrow for the NFL 2025 season because he thought the Jets got screwed over with their schedule
I
last
did hear
year.
Tauscher say that today. Yeah, I've heard that one too.
So he thinks that the NFL is so out to get him that if he signed with a team that they would adjust the schedule to make sure it was harder for him to not win.
No, not
I think it's more of
necessarily.
like he knows the NFL would try to
Primetime
showcase his
games.
game, and he doesn't want that.
Gotcha.
Remember when his first season the first season he was supposed to play for the
So
Jets and
many
he tore his
primetime.
Achilles, and then the Jets were in primetime like every week. It
And it
felt
was like,
the
why
first
aren't
half
we
of the
flexing
season.
all these games? Yeah.
Because you can't.
I know,
first
I
half of the
understand you
season.
can't flex it, but like, let's make an exception. Nobody wants to watch the Jets.
It was brutal. But I think, so the speculation is that if they wait till after the schedule comes out, then now they don't have as much pressure on them because of Rodgers.
But isn't there kind of speculation right now that the Steelers-Packers game has already been kind of messed with a little bit because Aaron Rodgers is potentially going there, that they're trying to make that a prime
Which
time?
speculation are you hearing? I want to see if you're
Well,
hearing
I mean,
the same speculation
okay,
I
so
am.
there was obviously the speculation of from Ben Brust, who knows who his source was.
Fake journalist.
Hashtag fake journalist. That the Packers were supposed to take on the Pittsburgh Steelers to kick off the season, right? In Dublin?
I don't think it was going to be kicking off the season.
Oh, I
but
thought it
was
was early in the season.
No, but I believe it was that they were going to be playing each other in Dublin.
Yes.
Probably like where it ended up being week 4, which they're not playing against the Vikings.
Gotcha.
My understanding of that is more of like that was the league's want and intention, and I think the Packers fought it pretty hard.
Well, it sounded like the Steelers did too,
So,
per
like,
Mark Murphy.
So I think both sides.
But the
fought
Packers
that.
probably pulled the like, hey, we played in Brazil first. We're not doing a
The
overseas one.
Well, if you really want to get into the speculation, the Packers might have pulled the, hey, we're the team that put our neck out to ban the tush push line. Don't
There
make
you
us
go,
go
there
play
you
in
go,
Dublin.
there you go, yeah.
That was some real
Hey,
speculation.
NFL, you asked us to do this,
Yes.
and we did.
There
Now
were-
it's on you.
There is some, if you go onto the dark corners of Twitter, there are some people reporting that, like Ben Brust reporting that they would be playing in Dublin.
Those are the same people that like sound like I did in our group chat earlier, where I was talking about the conspiracy around the Mavericks getting this first
But you
overall
might not
pick.
be wrong there. No, I'm just kidding.
So
good point, Molly.
The
I
conspiracy,
rarely am.
So the Mavs first round pick, it stinks, but it would have to be like Mission Impossible level conspiracies because like Zach Lothers, they allow people in the room. It's computerized.
But don't you remember the Ewing one? Don't you?
Right,
the
but
rumor?
that would be the only one because after that they.
And that was how many decades ago?
But that was on television.
But it weren't in the room, and it was a frozen envelope. This is not. There's no envelope. It's literally just like a computer that spits it out, and you're all in there.
So that person that held up the thing that wasn't drawn.
That's all done ahead of time.
That's like when
Oh.
they hand out like the big check
It's
when
like
you hit a
the-
half-court
Mhm.
shot. It's like there's no actual money on that, man.
It's like
Really?
it's like the NFL draft.
Have you ever gotten a big check? Because I have, Ryan. Don't you tell me if they're not worth anything.
Oh, really? Which bank did you take it to?
Any one of them.
Any of them.
They're all good.
So, right. Well, it's like
Depends whichever bank wants to partner with our show.
It's like we talked about with the NFL draft though, like where everything goes to the league office and then
Yeah.
it's relayed back to Green Bay, and then the pick is that's the show. The pick is already in. It's already been logged. It's already.
So you
set.
telling me random number generator? Fire it away
for years, yeah. And again,
Yeah,
they're
computers
very
can't be those.
they're very-
Those can't be rigged.
They're very transparent in their process.
It was a 1.8% chance
Oh, yeah,
that the
it's-
Mavs would win the
right.
first overall pick.
That's
in the lottery.
crazy.
Yeah.
Sometimes
That computer was frozen.
Do you think Nico Harrison is just like kneeling at an altar of whatever devil he prays to and just saying like,
Adam Silver?
I can't believe it worked.
Thanks, Adam. Thanks, Daddy.
Sold his soul like the movie Sinners. Just, I mean,
I don't believe it. You can tell me all the facts you want, Jim.
Perfect.
This is my feeling.
Can you just describe America's problems all in one sentence?
What does
I
Matt think of the moon landing?
I don't like it, and so
Relish.
so therefore I
The
do
lighting
not-
was a little sus, but I thought it was real.
Don't tell who was is it? Which one knocked someone out? Like the guy was on the flight. The astronaut that was up there was it?
Buzz
Aldrin.
Buzz Aldrin.
Yeah.
I mean, he's knocked dudes out.
Oh,
Like,
I know.
people, like
Yeah, he's
conspiracy. He's not nuts. Like if you landed on the moon,
Okay,
it's
yeah, I
the greatest
mean,
accomplishment of
Someone's
all time.
like, no, you didn't.
and is berating
That's
you
totally
about
fair.
it.
That is totally
Like
fair.
you are one of the most influential and consequential human beings of all time, and some loser in the basement's like, Elon said that it's all on a TV screen. Yeah, you deserve to get punched. Everyone around him should punch that guy.
I also believe Buzz Aldrin was like a fighter pilot before he was an astronaut too, so he's not someone you would want to mess
wow.
with. Saying that to his face is crazy.
Also,
Yeah.
like again,
With
just,
a Bible in hands. They swear on the Bible you
Right,
stood on the
right,
moon.
right.
That was crazy.
But like also like people who are like they serve. In
If he did it, he could have done it. He didn't do it, Ryan.
They serve in the military. They're all like it is a very specific type of person that even goes into being able to be an astronaut. It's the
People
best-
that are already brainwashed
Yeah,
in the military.
The best of the best out there, and they would, like
You're on one
They're
today.
good at following orders. They're like, hey, orders are we went to the moon. Wink, wink. Nod,
right.
nod.
And again,
you know what I mean?
my general thing on conspiracies
Matt,
is
is the Earth flat? What is going on? Kyrie, where are you?
Do you see curvature when you look outside? Flat.
that
might be a roof, but it looks flat to me.
Who's Kyrie play for? The Mavs.
Yeah.
There we go.
There you go.
Oh, full circle.
No circles.
yeah, except for the Earth.
It's a square.
Right. My favorite, my favorite conspiracy was that one when then all of a sudden they try to every time they try to disprove it, they're like they actually accidentally prove it. Like, 'cause if this is real, this won't move. Like, oh, move. Something must be wrong.
My favorite's the science one, though. Like, I got on a plane with a level, and the plane had never tipped its nose down to go around the curvature of the Earth. I
right.
love that one. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, man, that's proof.
Yeah, people who didn't
About a
pass.
3-foot walling level. And brought it onto a plane as my carry-on.
Right.
People who didn't pass 8th grade math trying to teach you about physics is always funny.
Yeah.
Well, because the other part
It's my emotional support level.
Right.
I need it on the plane.
Because the part of this thing that is always insane is like I will err on the side of incompetence over conspiracy. Because these conspiracies have to have so many people
But
forever.
they're so much fun to talk
Right,
about,
but
right? This because of the Mavericks, guys.
But like, here's where
I'm not letting this go. This
here's
a real
the flaw
one.
in it is that you are believing that people could keep their mouths shut, and it's even less believable now than ever.
They
And
probably
so
already offed the guy who froze the envelope.
Oh, my gosh.
So they're killing people for the NBA draft.
Adam Silver's going around
Yeah,
like
Adam Silver's
like an assassin.
Well, again,
Yeah.
What's that one guy, the Grim Reaper, right?
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
But, okay.
Adam Silver from the grassy knoll got whoever froze the envelope.
It is Dallas.
It is Dallas. It's all coming together. I should see if they got any foil in the kitchen for a hat to wear.
Is Adam Silver related to Jack Ruby? You can't prove that he's not.
Give me a minute. We'll play 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon, and I'll figure it out.
6 Degrees of JFK is what we're doing now.
Yeah, apparently.
Wasn't Kevin Bacon in a movie about JFK?
He was.
Oh!
He was, yeah.
You guys think I'm crazy. Crazy like a fox.
Yeah, you probably have the brain of a fox. Yes.
No kidding.
Nailed it.
The brain size of a fox. Well, there's no break for me to transition out of it. So
we're moving on.
All right, the last little thing we'll do here as the Brewers come up on the air is so Tauscher, along with many others, have floated the idea of, could the Bucks trade Giannis to the Mavs for Cooper Flagg and maybe another player. Ryan, you'll probably know this. I was having struggles earlier. Don't they have a younger big, not Gafford, but another big that from Duke?
Yes, Derek Lively.
Lively.
Love him.
Yeah, so Derek Lively, Cooper Flagg, and maybe another draft pick or two for Giannis. Now, I believe basically ESPN's Dallas reporter said that ain't happening. They're gonna take Cooper Flagg, which makes sense because Kyrie Irving is hurt, so it's not like this is a year they could. I don't think is Kyrie having Achilles as well. Like
he was ACL.
ACL, so it's not like he's not going to play for most of the next year. Anthony Davis is oft injured. Cooper Flagg allows them to reset for a youth movement there with Lively, and realistically, you're probably more likely to see them move Anthony Davis and reset than you are to see them try to go get a Giannis. I get the idea behind it that obviously if
you were getting both AD and Kyrie healthy at the beginning of the season, it would make a lot of sense.
I mean, they have Klay Thompson too.
Right, Klay Thompson also
off hurt, yeah.
Yeah, but also he's not what he used to be.
No.
So, because if you're going to do that trade, Klay Thompson and others would have to come back in that trade, and then the Bucks would move Klay Thompson because you also have a lot of salary to move in that deal. The one that intrigues me, though, is the San Antonio Spurs with Stephon Castle.
And then second pick?
Yes, and then that's probably Dylan
And
Harper.
14th.
Dylan Harper, so I was listening to some podcast this morning, and basically they described Cooper Flagg as the Zach Lowe podcast had one of their NBA guys on, and Cooper Flagg is viewed as one of the most well-rounded prospect maybe ever, but he's not. He's obviously he's got more of an AD sort of level, so he's not LeBron Victor sort of level prospect, but he's that Anthony Davis level prospect of he is a premium prospect, and they said that Harper, though, if he was the first overall pick, would be a Cade Cunningham type prospect. Cade Cunningham is a hell of a player for the Detroit Pistons.
Yeah.
Now, it's not Cooper Flagg. It's not Victor Wembanyama, any of those players. But if you were able to move Stephon Castle and then also get in, I'm trying to think of another, I think his name's Devin, another player with the Spurs that could be.
Devin Vassell.
Yeah, Vassell. So, you get Vassell, you get Harper, you get some picks. And Stephon Castle, now you have the reigning Rookie of the Year, who is still an ascending player. Harper is
essentially just Andre Jackson times 2.
Right.
Is what Stephon Castle styles out to.
Interesting.
Right. And then you have Harper, who could be a Cade Cunningham type. Cade Cunningham is a guy that just led his team to the playoffs. Now you have two guys who could play, and then some draft picks, and then you kind of reset. So that would be another one. Maybe, and then if you get Vaselli, and maybe you can get one more guy out of San Antonio. Now you have some players that might compete. Now you're a little bit further away than if you did a trade with Houston. You probably get the 10th overall pick, probably get Amen Thompson, Sengun, and maybe Jabari Smith. That team might be a 6-7 seed in the East. and also you might be a little bit better. I understand where Tauscher says you got to sell Giannis, and a lot of people are saying that you got to sell the sizzle if you don't have Giannis. I do think that if the Bucks put together a team that's young and exciting, and you have the second back to the San Antonio one, the second overall pick, and the reigning Rookie of the Year, and some young exciting players around that, and then let's say you have San Antonio's pick for the next couple of years, now you have draft picks to play with, because the idea of, and you can focus on the gap year thing that Eric Name from The Athletic has talked about. And Kobe and Dirk and Steph kind of had a gap year sort of thing. But Steph, now the Warriors didn't do much with it, but part of that gap year was they ended up having the second overall pick. Now they used that on James Wiseman. It didn't work out, but I think they still turned that into Wiggins. But they had assets. I don't know the Lakers' full story. And Dirk, his gap year was kind of towards the end after he won a title, and he was fine with one title. I mean, I shouldn't say fine with one title, but the Bucks have no assets, and that's the problem I have with this gap year. Because what is our big concern here in Wisconsin and Milwaukee of well, we can't draw on free agents. So what good is this money that you have if you can't attract people who want to come to Milwaukee, even if it is to play? Because here's the other part of it. Giannis, if this is going to work, Giannis then has to re-sign. So you could do the gap year, and then with 1 year left on his deal, Giannis has to sign an extension. Otherwise, no free agent is coming here.
Right.
You're not going to come to Milwaukee on the hope that Giannis is going to stay.
Yep.
So you have to give Giannis to buy into the gap year, and then you bring in, then he re-signs. So then the new free agents feel like, okay, we're going to come here and play with Giannis. And then also you have to figure out the coaching staff, everything else. That's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah, and how are you going to convince a guy who's got 4 to 6 years of high competitive basketball left in him to take one of those off? Or not off, but we don't have a shot.
Right.
It's not happening.
And there's
then there's no guarantee you're going to have a shot later.
There's not assets to be had. Again, I don't know the Lakers won, but I know the Warriors had assets to be able to fix it on the fly. And, oh, by the way, the Warriors had unquestionably one of the best GMs in basketball at the time.
Greatest coaches of all time.
Right. The Bucks have neither one of those things. I don't think there's a ton of trust in John Horst. Doc Rivers.
There must be some because he just got an extension. So
one of the dumbest things out there. A horrible mistake. But then you have Doc Rivers, who's a Hall of Fame coach, but he's not Steve Kerr. He's not elite.
I mean, we're paying 3 head coaches, so that's
True.
the issue. You can't even move on from him because you're going to pay 4 head coaches in one season?
Could get another owner, maybe. Get a little more money in there.
Yeah, there you go. Another way to do it. So,
we can't get him into Milwaukee.
Isn't it interesting, kind of the parallels?
Free agent owners are tough to come by.
Between the Haslams, how they're running the Milwaukee Bucks and the Cleveland – I almost said the Cleveland Cavs, the Cleveland Browns. They have 5 quarterbacks on their roster. I know the Bucks have 3 coaches, like we've talked about. But also, I think the idea of chasing a championship, right? I feel like them – obviously, none of us like the move of bringing in Deshaun Watson and paying him a boatload of money.
Yeah.
But, they did it because they thought that would push them over the edge to get to a championship. In the same way that the Milwaukee Bucks brought in Damian Lillard and made massive moves.
Yeah.
Moves that I feel like none of us necessarily regret.
No,
it's obviously this was what they felt they had to do in order to get a championship. And it's kind of fun rooting for a team that feels like they want to win a championship, especially when you look at the Green Bay Packers, the Milwaukee Brewers. Neither of those teams are doing that. So it's fun watching this whole Bucks thing play out, but also at the same time, now we're in the
– It just stinks when your experiment doesn't work.
Yes, exactly, for sure, which I think
Haslam,
is the case for both.
They're spending the money.
Because I was really excited for Dame.
I think we all were. I think none of us were excited to lose Drew Holiday. You saw the community impact that he had. You saw the impact that he had on the court. You saw that he brought a ton of defense. Damian Lillard obviously does not bring that.
Does not bring defense.
But Dame coming in was a clutch player.
But Dame brought in look, the other part of it is that Chris Middleton never got back to where he was when they won the title.
Yep.
Because Dame was brought in because Middleton could not be relied upon as a get-your-own-shot guy. Drew Holiday is not a get-your-own-shot guy. So they had to sacrifice defense to bring in Dame to be a get-your-own-shot guy. Now, there was bad injury luck there. But let's be honest, the last 2 years are not substantially or noticeably better with Drew Holiday.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that would be better is that you mortgage less of your future because you obviously had to give up stuff for Dame. That's the only thing that's the case would be okay, you could have just kept Drew and not given up so much draft capital to get Dame, and then you're maybe not as deeply buried.
And at the end of all that, because it seems like throughout making all those decisions, Giannis was intimately involved. If he wasn't the one calling or asking for the decisions, he was at least signing off on everything, trading for Dame, trading away Drew, acquiring Drew the first time around, too. Like, no move was made without his no beforehand.
Which is what you should do.
For sure. But then at that point, do you think Giannis, if you were trying to talk about what's the rationale for him wanting to or accepting to take that gap year to help reset the franchise, does he just say, look, you guys did everything I asked for, and let me now take a step back to try and get this team back to where we are in a championship window for my final prime years? Do you think if there's any way to convince him to do it, I feel like that's the only way you can.
You
and
owe us because we did everything you wanted.
No, not really you owe us, but like maybe it's him just saying, like, I understand all you guys did for me, and I feel like it's my duty to help do it to you again.
I feel
help
like
you on the back end.
I feel like the Sham stuff is reminding the Bucks that they better sell their soul if they want to keep him.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that stuff coming out is Giannis sending a message. But again, it just goes back to they have to hit, because everyone's like, oh, Miles Turner. They could sign Miles Turner. Great. And then you trade Dame next year because he's going to opt in. And then you got to trade Dame, get pennies on the dollar, and then have to hit another. But again, there's still no young players. There's no draft picks to be had. You still have to convince free agents to come here. And again, what free agent? I don't even know if Miles Turner comes to Milwaukee if there's no guarantee that Giannis is going to be here for a little bit.
You trying to say Milwaukee's not as good a city as Indianapolis?
Or Miami?
Well, that's the thing. Him leaving Indianapolis is one thing.
I feel like everybody always brings up Miami.
Him leaving Minneapolis is one thing, but going to Milwaukee is another. So, he's currently in Indianapolis, but maybe he wants to go somewhere else. I don't know who has money, but that's part of the flaw in this
Money
plan.
goes a lot further in Milwaukee Lakeshore than it does Miami Lakeshore.
True, but there's no
oceanfront.
There's no state income tax.
Yeah, true. That's why Giannis likes Texas.
Right.
Apparently.
So again, it just comes to I hope, and here's where best case scenario, the Giannis gives them next year. But then nothing happens. So, I just think we're going to be in the same spot.
Don't you have to sell them for even less if it's next year?
Yeah.
No, it just makes most sense to try and do it now.
Yeah, it's like a car.
We got to rip the Band-Aid off.
The more miles you use, the lower the value is. That's exactly what Giannis is.
First pitch here, the Brewers are now taking on the Indians. We're going to wrap this up in a couple minutes here. But Jackson Churio at the plate there. I don't know who Allen is for the Guardians, I'll be honest. But Churio, again, having a good season, just not the year that I think we were all expecting. Not quite like Jordan Love where he's not making that big jump. There's plenty of time left for Churio, but he is a guy that right now is kind of plateaued, a similar player he was last year. But last year was a hell of a baseball player. So if he's an all-star, you just take it. But you have to kind of – the league kind of – baseball is interesting because guys can be figured out, and they can be figured out for a year or two.
I don't think I'm allowed to give play-by-play, so I was not getting play-by-play for what it's worth.
Stay a little bit behind. I would say you could update on what overall.
Can we pretend to be baseball announcers right now?
No. So now, but
no, quite literally no.
But
yeah, that's literally the only thing you can't do.
But if we're a play behind.
I can't even remember what the last play was.
All right, so Molly, now you can give us the play-by-play.
No, I'm good. I don't want to do it. I was just asking.
So your baseball voice.
No.
No.
Come on, give us your best uke.
Nope.
No?
You know who's a good one? Alex G. If you guys talk to him, you got to get his baseball one. It's pretty good.
I might use him on
You
some
do
commercials.
Do yours.
I don't have one either, Molly.
Yes, you do.
I've been saving it.
Jim, you ever call baseball games?
Yeah, I'm terrible at it.
Is it because you have to pay attention the whole time?
No, it's because I actually can do fine
problem.
for football and basketball, but baseball you're supposed to stay behind the play.
Yeah.
And having done football and basketball, it's already hard because you're trying to stay more with the play. You're a little bit behind it, but with baseball, you're truly, and this is a tip from Gabe Neitzel, who did a lot of great play-by-play for us with the Madison Mallards, you truly have to stay behind it. So, right now, I would start calling it. Now, I'm not going to call it on the call, but, that's where – because if you're listening a lot of times on the radio, and Levinger and Euchre and all them were great, but, you still will hear the slap of you'll hear the ball hit, and then they're, a tick behind it. Because if you think about it, trying to stay with it in baseball is hard. You just want to stay just a little behind it. Because then you can see, is that ball going to be a home run? Is it going to hit the gap? And then you can kind of adjust your excitement level around it.
You know who's calling a baseball game tomorrow? Jesse Nelson and Mark Tauscher. Wait, not tomorrow. Thursday.
For
Thursday.
what?
Cardinals
Strikeout
cancer.
It is Sun Prairie East versus Middleton, the annual game. They have a charity baseball game between the two high schools.
Nice.
Oh, that's cool.
Mark Tauscher's son, I believe, plays for Sun Prairie East and or is in the Sun Prairie School District at the very least. So they're going out there to help support him. You'll be able to stream that on the ESPN Madison YouTube page that
That should
day.
actually be a fun call.
Barring that it does not get rained out, apparently.
Let's
Oh,
hope
is there
it doesn't.
oh, yeah, because the temp, it's one of those weird things. The temp goes from like 80 to 60.
Yep.
Wednesday
The
and
humidity
Thursday.
is like 90% all day.
Yeah.
Tornado weather, am I right?
Don't do that.
Don't even start with that
I'm
big
sorry,
weather,
big
Molly.
weather.
No,
Oh my
there was a
gosh.
big thing. My kids are obviously terrified of tornadoes, like all kids
I am
are,
too.
but we've been around them. So my oldest said that the other day, and like my youngest got worked up. My wife's like, "What are you doing?" To my oldest, who's also terrified of tornadoes.
She just has nightmares of like the beginning of Wizard of Oz.
Well, we
No,
went
tornadoes are terrifying. I remember literally
yeah.
being in my basement, like shaking and crying as like where my brother and sister are playing like Monopoly on the floor. It's like, how are you guys playing a game? There's a tornado going on outside. It's terrifying.
It is. That is scary.
Thanks a lot, Buzz Aldrin.
So I got a little bit of a story, and then we can wrap it up. But last night, so I sent a picture of you guys. So when I sent that picture, I was grilling. Apparently, inside, all hell had broken loose because both girls have hamsters. They're miniature hamsters, so they are like
rats.
Well, no, these things are like. I would say this.
You're right. It's just a mini rat.
A fluffy rat.
They don't have a tail on it. And again, but I would say that they are 3 inches long.
Like the size of a rabbit's foot.
What?
Yeah, they're small little things. So they have to take them out every day because otherwise they just sit in the cage. So my wife's always like, take them out. And usually she'll say like, hey, you can put them. Like they have like a hamster pen they'll put them in and it will lock up the cats. Or sometimes they have a roller ball. So last night they got the roller ball, and then they were also allowed to play their iPads while
they were watching.
Yeah, because
Oh,
it was like
boy.
get them out. So my youngest was in her room, and then my oldest was in her room, and all of a sudden my wife said she heard like bloody murder screams from my oldest room. Though the hamster had gotten out of the ball, like it must have. I don't know if she did.
Oh.
So she was obviously rightfully terrified that the cats were gonna get because they could.
Yeah.
Get,
Yep.
So and they had let one of the cats out because it's just more of a chill cat, like it doesn't obsess over them. So that cat. So my wife comes running upstairs.
Chill until it sees until it sees
So
prey.
my wife comes running upstairs to figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
Rosie tells her what's going on. She shuts the door, and then like they start figuring out. They block the door immediately with like a blanket, and then she tells my youngest to block the door going to the basement with a blanket
Because
too.
can they
just
crawl under doors?
Yeah, they're tiny.
they're very tiny. So
Ugh.
regardless, the thing was
Same way a mouse gets into your garage, crawls under the door.
And I
In my
didn't
car.
I didn't want these
Your car.
and I didn't want these hamsters, but I also didn't want them eaten by the cats. Like that's a different
Right.
story. So anyways, it was a good 10, 15 minutes looking around in the room, and they finally found it in the room. So nothing bad happened. But I was trying to explain to my youngest because she's like, well, we won't know if it's dead or whatever. I'm like, well, the cats will show it to you. Like, they'll be proud. They will. Because my wife told me this. Like, she
It would
grew
be
up-
like the scene in what's the famous gangster movie?
Oh, is it, I don't know.
Why am I blank-
Godfather.
Godfather, yeah, with the head of the horse.
horse.
The cats are like, here you go.
Well, right, but they bring up like they have mouse toys and they'll drop
Yeah.
them at the top of the stairs. And my wife grew up kind of in a farm, and so they had a farm cat, and they would drop mice at their front door, and like if it was outside,
yeah.
they'd be like, here you go. So and then my youngest like, well, that's not nice. They wouldn't do that. I'm like, they don't know. Like
They think they're being nice.
Yeah. So they wouldn't.
Look what I killed for you.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
I brought you the head.
So they don't understand like credit to dogs over cats. Like Dolly understands the cats are part of the family. She does not attack and
Right.
chase the cats. The cats do not understand that the hamsters. So like they would have definitely killed this. And so thankfully it was all solved. But that was apparently I came inside and I'm like, Nola comes in. She's like, pancakes might be dead. And I'm like,
Pancakes.
what? Yeah, it's
What's the
pancakes.
other one's name?
Sunny.
Okay.
Sunny and pancakes.
Yes.
Speaking of the Godfather,
Right.
Sonny.
Yeah.
Look what they did to my boy.
Right.
Look what they did to my mini hamster.
Right. So with the pancakes, Rosie's favorite food, so that's why pancakes is Rosie. So anyways, I come in, I'm like, what? I thought maybe like it's suffering. I don't know what was going on. And then she's like, it got out, and I'm like, where?
Kicked
And
the
so
ball down the stairs.
right.
That's what I thought. Like,
Yeah,
they
that's
were
what I
paying
was
attention to their iPad, so then like the
Yeah,
ball.
no.
just-
So like I was. So
Scrambled
anyways, like this
hamster.
is what I'm hearing. I'm like, oh my god, this is gonna ruin the whole night, the whole week. So thankfully they found it or whatever. But
Are you ever scared that one of those things is going to get like loose and then you're going to be sleeping and it just like crawls up your
no.
leg?
So my wife is. I'll give her
about.
full credit. She is great on like the cats. You'd have people who don't have pets have come in and said like I didn't know you had cats. Like one because they're usually skittish, but then two like on top of it the house does not smell like cats or anything like that. The dog is probably the biggest violator of stinking the house up, but we bath her as much as we can to keep it clean. But then the hamsters, they're in a big giant fish bowl, like a big giant aquarium sort of thing.
Oh.
And so she put a cap on it, and then she bought clips so the top of it clips. So one, there's no way for them to, even if they wanted to,
climb
first
a
of
glass
all,
wall.
Yeah, and they're super small, and it's clamped in there. Now the clamps, and she also on top of it, she has put down like plastic. Hard spikes on top of there too to try to keep the stupid cat. Like one of the cats, specifically Lou, walks up and she still jumps up there, and then she'll step her paw and like spread her paws out and like walk on there, and she will just sit up there the whole time.
Crazy.
Like basically licking her lips.
Yeah,
like, she
she's
gets
looking
yelled
for
at.
an opportunity.
Right,
hungry for some pancakes.
Right. And again, they don't know better.
Right.
But yeah, it's one of those things that that was my night. That was
nice.
A wild.
Sounds
wild night.
relaxing.
But tonight we got to go to orchestra, so we're gonna wrap it up. Thanks for watching on the ESPN Madison YouTube stream. The Brewers didn't put any. They did put some ducks on the pond, but they did not drive any of them home in the first inning. Yes.
Good baseball insights from from this.
Well, that was a popular Mallards one.
I was going to say, I thought that was a Mallards.
No, it is a term.
Oh no, it is. Yes.
You got can of corn.
I said that like when I played baseball in like middle school.
Yeah.
Well, no, ducks in the pond is a thing. It's not a Mallards term.
I just know they have to ride that into the ground at the Mallards game.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you got the can of corn.
Yep.
So there's a couple little baseball terms you can turn out there. I do believe they ended their inning on a can of corn. So, which I guess is what the idea of like a can of corn falling off the shelf is easy to catch, or that idea. And I think that's why they call it a can of corn.
I'm learning all sorts of things today.
This is the most baseball talk Molly's ever had.
That's what it is. A can of corn's an easy fly out.
Yeah.
See, Matt's learning too.
I don't know why specifically that's considered like that would be a line drive, which you would know that is not a can of corn.
If Riley Yauk is back in the Everlight Solar Studio and still listening at this point, please describe why is it called a can of corn?
Yeah, so I just looked it up because I wasn't sure myself, but it originated from a grocer's method of reaching high shelves in stores. They used a pole or like one of those like grabby things, and they just take a can of corn off the shelf. So it's supposed to be something very easy.
Yeah,
grabby thing.
I knew can of corn kind of stood for something easy. All right. Well,
fair enough.
This was a nice, easy
This
show.
show's been a can of corn.
So we've had 2 can of corn shows. So tomorrow we're regular.
Yeah, we are.
I don't know.
Back to regular.
Honestly, if you guys want to do another half hour, I'm in.
Matt.
half hour and
the
then
one time
50
that you
minutes
actually
on
want to
YouTube.
work.
Yeah, because he wants to eat dinner a little bit later.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all around Matt Hamilton. This has been Jim, Matt, and Molly on the ESPN Madison YouTube stream.